A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to Global Online. And here we have already started our preparation for paper 1, that is for June 2023 batch. As you all know that we have a span of 2 months for the next preparation, that is for June 2023 batch, and we have already started lectures for June 2023. So the topic which we have started is unit number 1, that is teaching aptitude, wherein I have completed the first lecture and the second lecture. Both the lectures links are available in the description box. Today this is the third lecture on the topic factors affecting teaching related to teacher, related to learner, support material, instructional facilities, learning environment and institution. Yes. Before we go ahead and start our session for the day, let's understand what does Global Online has to offer you all for this June 2023 paper or examination. So we do have live lectures which will be conducted daily in English as well as in Hindi also. In English you have lectures in morning, and in Hindi you have lectures in evening. We have video lectures on all the units, 60 plus mock test, last 10-year question papers with answer key, complete notes, and also the practice question with the combination of 2000 plus MCQs. In order to get in touch with us, or in order to get a further inquiry, you can get in touch with us on the given numbers which are reflected on the screen. Right now we are going with a 20% off, so the fees for paper 1 is 3,200. In case if you are looking something for paper 2, yes, we do have paper 2 notes and MCQs available. The list of the subject for paper 2 is available on the screen. These are the paper 2 subjects which we deal with. Again, here, in case if you have any doubt related to any of the topic or any concern, you can get in touch with us on these given WhatsApp number. Now, let's start the session for the day. So let's understand what is today's session objective. So today the session is session number 3. Okay, we have already completed session number 1 on Monday, session number 2 on Tuesday, that is 27th of March, 28th of March, and today is 29th of March. Link for session 1 and session 2 both are available in the description box. I have stated lecture 1, lecture 2. It will be easier for you to have a link on the topics which are in sync with or in sequence. So today let's see what the topic will be handling. We will be handling factors which affects teaching, which are related to teaching, which are related to learners, support material, instructional facilities, learning environment and institution. So these are the topics which we are going to handle today for today's session. So let's start with your factors affecting teaching. So basically the first factor which affects teaching is teacher herself. Okay, the main component of teaching element is the teacher. Now let's understand that when I talk about teacher as one of the important factor or important element, or the one who plays an important role in teaching learning process as a what? As a facilitator. So teacher here plays the role of what? Teacher here plays the role of facilitator. Now, what is the role of facilitator? We know that teacher plays the role of facilitator, but what this facilitator has to do? Obviously, the facilitator has to adopt best teaching techniques, efficient methods, you can say in the best pedagogy form. Teacher needs to explore the right talent of the learners and help them towards towards the growth of teaching learning progress, or help them towards the progress or towards the growth. So it depends upon various factors. Now when I say that teacher has a facilitator, has to find out the talent from within the child, has to help the child in the journey of teaching learning process. So for that, do teacher require some extra qualifications or skills? Yes, very true. So here this questions can be definitely a part of your statement questions. So you have to be very careful. So when I'm talking about teacher's skill and teacher's qualification, so yes, teachers should have an efficient and highly valued degree. So you can say B.Ed, D.Ed. Okay, these are the basic degrees which are required for a teacher to teach the students in the very standardized format. Apart from that, okay, PhD. so that the teacher will be able to identify the different ways of thinking and imparting knowledge to the students. So teachers herself can inculcate divergent thinking. Teacher can herself can come out with the best pedagogies and ensure that the best knowledge is the best in the best way and in the best form the knowledge is imparted to the students. Okay, talking about the skills, that is teaching talent, is definitely every teacher has a different skill set. Every teacher has a different type of skills in order to reflect the teaching learning process. So here basically it's about your skills in order to connect to the students. Now we have seen so many statement questions, like it's stating about teacher creating a bond, teacher applying the right method, teacher applying the right way of explanation, teacher applying the right way of students engagement. So these all things plays a very important role when the teacher is involved in teaching learning process. So like for example, communication skills for better involvement and engagement, the volume, the pitch, you call it as paralanguage, okay, the vocalist, okay, plays an important role within the teacher's skill in order to ensure that there is an effective teaching. Use of teaching aids effectively, yes, it's very important. Like for example, yesterday, I'll just give you an example. Yesterday some students said that the slides were not clear. Okay, so it means that my teaching aid, I am presenting the content with the help of PPT. So my teaching aid is somewhere is not, it was not clear. So somewhere the impact of my teaching aid has impacted my session or my class. Selection of teaching method appropriately, which method suits the class, which methods the students are comfortable to take the concept, to understand the concept and to gain the knowledge. Passion for teaching, yes, very important. See, it's not a job, it's not a job, it's a skill. So like for example, if I considered it as a job, I won't definitely put any extra efforts, I won't put any extra commitment towards it. I'll just complete the teaching part irrespective students understand, they don't understand, irrespective the students are along with me or not, it is of no concern to me. So obviously it needs a specific passion for teaching. Human relation skills to act as a best guide or mentor. Now please remember, when I'm talking about this role of a teacher, that is one of the factor affecting teaching. It's not only just going to the class, teaching the students and getting out of the class. When you enter the class as a teacher, when you enter the class as a facilitator, you have the huge responsibility on you. It's you need to ensure that there is a proper ice breaking session, there is a proper amount of objective which is given to the students, there is a proper amount of understanding, empathetic behavior, there is a proper amount of engagement. These all will definitely make the teacher-student relationship very strong. The students will slowly, gradually open up with the teacher and will ensure that this teaching learning process happens or it's with the best outcome. Okay, so yes, so factor, we have seen the first factor, that is teacher as a facilitator. So how the educational qualification of a teacher and the skills plays an important role as one of the factor. Okay, moving towards the second factor is that the continuation, that is experience and the subject matter of the teacher. So like for example, when we talk about experience, yes, it is one of the important criteria. What exactly the knowledge teacher, what exactly the experience level teacher has, what type of knowledge the teacher has, so that the teacher, he or she, can help the student to learn, can help the students get pass on the effective methods, can teach the students how to come out of rote memory or teaching pedagogy and how to go towards the understanding level, how to inbuild in them the critical thinking or problem solving thinking. So for that, teacher needs to be very well experienced. So experience really matters a lot of a teacher in order to engage the class, in order to engage the students, and it plays an important role as one of the factor. Okay, coming to subject matter, yes, it's not like, you know, that teacher needs to upgrade herself with the content, with the, you know, with the specific amount of I mean to say a specific amount of information, references. So all this plays an important role. So for this I have given an example over here also. This is a very rare chance that arts teacher can give good learning experience in subject related to science. So it means that somewhere certain disciplines needs to be, you know, merged up, needs to be come together in order to give a perfect combination of teaching disciplines. So here we have understood how the first factor plays an important role in teaching learning process. That is one thing. Second thing comes your factor is learner. So second most important factor related to teaching is learner. Okay, the student themselves. You people can please, in case, I know this is, you know, the theory class we are into. So right now there is no discussion with reference to MCQs, but if you have any doubts, any concerns, any queries, you can please put in the chat box. As I said, any student who is new to the channel, let me tell you one thing. We have started with the new batches. These new batches are for 2023 classes. Okay, now as I said, we will be first going with the theory sessions, which is as per your syllabus. Okay, every theory session we will be completing one sub point of that specific unit. Once that theory session gets over, I will be taking up all the topics which are not directly given in the syllabus, but yes, indirectly they had a lot of questions out of that. So on an average, for one particular unit, I have planned 10 sessions. Okay, so in this 10 sessions, I'll be teaching you first the syllabus, what is given in the syllabus. As per the syllabus, we will go through all the points. Then in the remaining sessions, like for example, if I'm having one extra session or two extra sessions which I have with me, in those sessions, I'll be taking all the extra topics, which I said is directly not given, but indirectly they play an important role. And then after this units gets completed, we will start with our MCQ discussions. We'll start with our important topics as per 2023 cycle, 2022 cycle. So this is how we'll go. The reason is that there are many new students who are preparing for 2023 batch. So they are completely fresh. So they should know how to go from the start, and that's how we have started this session. Okay. Now, second important point is learner. So learner plays a most effective role again in teaching learning process. Definitely, we have studied this in last two classes also. There has to be inclusive education. That is, you know, it is necessary to ensure the intelligence level, the race, the belief, the socio-economic status of the learners, so that the teacher can address the individual difference very well. So that there needs to be not any individual difference to be done, no biasness, but it is very important to understand the differences within the learners, so that the teacher can address those differences and accordingly can implement the inclusive education in the classroom, that is in the teaching learning process. So we know that every individual is different in the terms of physics, in the terms of society, the culture. So it is very important all these differences should be clubbed together, should be collaborated together, and inclusive education should be imparted. And yes, this all will be, you know, this all depends on the interest of the learner itself, you know, his aptitude, his attitude, his motivation level, his mental health, his aspiration. So it is very important, his achievement. So these plays a very important role. So in short, if I summarize, what does it say is that psychological difference of you know, plays very important role in order to ensure that the things are learned in the classroom very well. So this really plays an important role. Fine. So this is one of the factor. Moving next to is environmental factor and other support factors, that is The coming is support materials. So when we are talking about support material, we include, the tools, we include the methods, we include the professional development, where we take into consideration students' assessment, students' scores, the teaching strategies and lesson plans, the standard benchmarks, okay, or maybe the tools. You can use modern tools, you can use information technological tools. So this really plays an important role. Now why? Now see, like for example, you are the one who are, who are the facilitator or who are the mediator to the students. Now the way you use your different teaching learning materials, the way you upgrade yourself, the way you bring your strategies, this will help the child to understand what is going presently in the current scenario, what is happening, okay, what type of tools, what type of new things or digitalized things are coming up. So you are the facilitator in order to give them the knowledge and ensure that the teaching learning process becomes really easier for them. So this really plays an important role in teaching learning process. Support material, but as a teacher it is your duty to make them or bring them closer to this type of support material. Not only this, okay, instructional facilities, that is teaching aids. When we talk about teaching aids, so like let us take an example. You as a teacher are using a blackboard, okay, so obviously nowadays we have whiteboards, we have smart boards, okay. The student learns from you, so students observes you how the teacher uses the blackboard skills, how up to date you are using the blackboard, what type of presentation do you have in the blackboard, what type of presentation do you have with respect to comprehension, what type of presentation do you have with respect to reinforcement. Now what is this reinforcement? That I'll tell you. What type of how you deliver your instructions, how do you handle this the anxietic situations. They are just learning from you, so you need to be, you are the role model for them in order to get these things understand. So like for example, we say like parents have the anxiety level more. The student also see the teachers is completely with the unorganized skills, anxiety level is more. So somewhere the students develop these knowingly, unknowingly. So this really plays an important role. How do you instruct, what method of instruction has you brought up, and accordingly how do you work for that. Secondly, I'm talking about reinforcement, okay. So we have on this, there was question in 2019. So positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. So when we talk about positive reinforcement, if your child is interactive in your class, if the child has shown interest, the child is improving, developing, growing day by day, give him a positive reinforcement. It means the positive reinforcement comes in the form of reward. Okay, give him a reward, okay, appreciate him. Now I'm not telling you to give reward in the form of something which results into a materialistic thing, or just appreciate him, just say few kind words, just motivate him with your powerful speech for his appreciation. So this itself will work well with this child. At the same time, if the child is not able to catch up the things or purposely is ignoring and doing all these things, so it is it is basically to ensure that you are punishing the child. So that punishment should not be in such a way that the child completely gets detached. The punishment should be in such a way that it's a learning lesson for a child. So when we talk about this negative reinforcement, that is in the form of punishment, it is a learning lesson for a child that yes, the child needs to, this is a high time, the child needs to improve, or else he will be left out, okay, and his definitely his career path will be affected. So it is very important. All this should be provided with the help of your teaching aids. Fine. Then coming to learning environment, very, very important, where we have the classroom environment, where we have the socio-economic factor, okay, and the expectations, and the last we have is institution. So when we talk about classroom environment, okay, what type of classroom environment have you created? Have you created a understanding environment, a active participation environment? Are you focusing on each child of your classroom equally? Are you giving equal attention to everyone? What type, what type of classroom management do you have? What type of techniques do you have in case, you are entering the class at the as the last period of the day, a last class of the day? How do you take up the enthusiasm, the zeal of the students in order to learn a subject? So that really plays a very important role. So how lively is your classroom, and how the teaching learning process happens within the students, that also is one of the important factor which affects teaching learning. Then your socio-economic factor, that is the background. Okay, now see, please remember, your inclusive education in some or other way, it is definitely coming as a point. So economic background, where obviously the child is coming from a upper family or a lower class family. How he is gelling up economically? Is he getting an obstacle in order to in order to enhance his learning skills? So teachers should ensure that all this plays an important role. At the other side, there is another side of this also. Even for teachers, okay, who are paid less monetary term wise, and who thinks this as a burden, may not take an extra efforts to ensure. But see, keeping all these factors aside, okay, I'm talking about economic factors. You have got a responsibility in order to create valuable future of the country. So obviously you need to keep in mind all those points and have to make sure that you're doing a proper justice with your teaching learning process, irrespective with respect to various environment. It can be an economic environment, it can be an classroom environment, but you need to have a justice towards your teaching very well. Okay, then coming is your expectations. Yes, many a times what we do is that we try to pressurize the child with the expectations. It is not only from teachers but also from parents. They have a lot of constraints in every aspect. Like for example, they also physically maybe grasping power wise, maybe their capacity wise, so they also have a lot of constraints. So you can't tell that every student, the ranker has to be, every student in the class has to be a ranker. So no, you need to understand the child's mental capacity also. You need to ensure that you are taking into consideration, you are doing effective counseling if required, you are giving effective morale to the student who is into the failure stage, or who has come up as a failure, so that the child does not goes into a depression, or the child is not mentally stressed out, and it should not impact in another way. So it's very important as a teacher, you need to have expectations, but depending upon your student. And then comes institution. In institutions, yes, institutions need to ensure that the policies are followed well. Teachers should get a freedom in the teaching pedagogy. Teacher should not be burdenized. There should be a proper time for planning and execution of a lesson plan, so that teacher is even under burden, she or he may not come up with the best skills, but teacher needs to also be given time so that the teacher can prepare their lesson, he or she can prepare their lesson and come out with the best teaching, or come out with a various pedagogy in order to ensure that teaching learning is done in the best possible manner. Fine. Now, here one point I have just listed as a summary, that is NCERT, National Council of Educational Research and Training, in its publication has listed out some core teaching skills. Writing the objectives, organizing the content, creating the set of introduction of the lesson, introducing a lesson. This all I have told, but I have just listed it one by one. Then structurizing the classroom questions, question delivery, the response management, explaining, illustrating, teaching skills, stimulation, that is action reaction, spacing the lesson, promoting the participation, use of blackboard skills, I have told you very clearly, achieving the closure of the lesson with a proper summarization, giving assignments, evaluating the progress of the child, diagnosing the difficulties and addressing them. It means taking the remedial measures and management of the class. So if you get a question specifically NCERT has focused on what, so here you can, you have the points to go through and answer your question also. Fine. Now coming to the next part is the micro teaching. So in this concept, they have also touched the concept of micro teaching, and yes, micro teaching questions were seen in some of the cycles. So we will just do that part also. So micro teaching is nothing but a product of research at Stanford University, which was first adopted in 1961 by Dwight Allen and his co-workers. Now it implies the micro element that systematically attempts to simplify the complexity. So basically, in order to answer the complexity of your teaching process, we have a solution, and that solution is a micro teaching. So micro teaching just tells us that it makes us realize that teaching is a complex process. Yes. Okay, so it is very important that we need to analyze lot of aspects. We need to practice, we need to teach, we need to evaluate by keeping into mind the behavior of the teacher, the opportunity provided by the teacher, the conditions of the classroom, and for this the behavior of the teacher and pupil plays an important role. And hence there are phases which are listed under micro teaching. So you have teaching phases also, and you have a question on micro teaching also, you may get it. So when I say teaching of phases of micro teaching, which are divided into three parts, that is knowledge acquisition phase, skill acquisition phase, and transfer phase. So knowledge acquisition phase, the observation skills in the form of demo, analyzing and discussing about the demo, so that what level the knowledge teacher has, what level the teacher needs to prepare, and how teacher needs to get ready. Skill acquisition phase, where the teacher prepare for the micro lessons, practice the skills, the feedback is given. If the lessons are not correct, the reteaching happens over here. And transfer phase, where the actual teaching, it's a part of what? It means micro teaching goes towards macro, and in macro the execution happens. Okay, so this is how the phases of micro teaching are. In case if you want to know in detail, I have added one more slide. So in what exactly are the activities in micro teaching? So what happens in micro teaching? So like for example, lesson, the model is created, reading, listening, observing, analyzing is done. So this is a preparation phase where the teacher acquires knowledge. Skill acquisition, teacher learns the skills, setting the feedback, planning, teaching, observing, analyzing, reteaching, re-observing. I said no, if the feedback is not up to the point, the reteaching part is also done over here. Reteaching, re-observing, and re-analyzing the feedback. And lastly comes as the skill transfer phase, so where your teaching happens. Okay, planning, the analyzing the practice, effect of practice teaching, that how successful the lesson has went, what type of preparation still needs, or what type needs to be done. Okay, now you have a separate question also. See, this was all about micro teaching. Okay, micro teaching, I showed you the phases and various activities. Okay, Shivu, very good morning. Shivu Manju, very good morning. I hope you have, I think you have joined a bit late. So these are the live classes which have started for which we have started for June 2023. On daily basis we are taking topics. So we have come, this is the third topic, that is for teaching aptitude. As I am going in the sequence, if you are interested to go for the first two lectures, you can find the link in the description box. Okay, so this we have studied up till what? This we have studied up till your micro teaching as one of the component and element. But at the same time, I have also brought up here a concept because you have phases of teaching also. So in teaching, your phases are divided again into three parts: pre-active, interactive, and post-active. So pre-active is something which is before teaching, interactive is during, and post-active is after. So before, during and after. So in pre-active stage, planning, teacher plans for her lesson, her or his lesson. In interactive stage, teacher takes the lesson. Okay. And in post-active phase, a follow-up is done. That is after teaching. So I've written here very clearly. See, pre-active planning happens. Interactive, the conduction of the class the conduction of the topic and the management of the classroom happens. Post-active, follow-up and consolidation or summarization happens. Okay. Even in this, in detail, if you want, I have, what this pre-active stage is called planning. Interactive stage is called as implementation. Post-active is called as evaluation. So I've clearly written over here. In detail also, if you want to see, here also I've given detail. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So we know stage 1 is pre-active. Here goals. Teacher has to fix up the goals for her lesson. Teacher has to discuss, decide the strategy, decide what strategy teacher is going to implement in order to deliver a lesson. Stage 2, teacher has to go for, interactive stage. Teacher has to diagnose if the learners are not able to catch up any specific things, or actions or reactions has to be seen. And post-active testing, teacher has to test whether her lessons were delivered in the right and appropriate manner, and teacher needs to take the feedback. Okay, so don't get confused. We have the phases of micro teaching also, and we have phases of teaching also. The reason I brought it togetherly, because you should be aware these are two separate topics, and accordingly you should be preparing. Okay, so let's summarize what we did in today's class. As I said, we started today's class with a topic called as, I'll just clear the screen so that you come to know over here very well. Okay, so what was today's session all about? Today's session was the third lecture on the topic factors affecting teaching. I'm going in sequence. You can find the first two topics link in the description. Today I did the third lecture on factors, where I taught you the factors related to teacher, learners, support material, instruction facilities, learning environment, and institutions. Apart from this, we did two extra topics, that is micro teaching and teaching phases. Both are two separate topics. The phases are different, topics are different. So you should be knowing it very well when you are studying it properly. So tomorrow again at 10 a.m. we will start with the new content, that is methods of teaching, wherein we will see the teacher and learner centered method along with online and offline methods. Is it clear? So this we will be doing tomorrow at 10 a.m. So tomorrow we will be meeting at 10 a.m. to discuss our fourth lecture. Yes, Shivu, Manju, I just told it some time back. See, I will tell you what is the journey in this the sessions which I have started. Okay, first I'll be taking all the theory part. Okay, I'll be doing entire theory of the syllabus of the specific unit. That is, I'm going to take 6 units. So I'll be doing all the theory part. Then once the theory part is over, so that you read, directly going to MCQs will not sort your purpose. So once all the theory part is over, we get an ideally 20-25 days time where we will be seeing all the MCQs related to your NET examination, including your latest MCQs in 2023 and 2022 papers also. Is it clear? Yes, I will do that, but it is only, slowly, gradually it will come up. So if you are looking for MCQs, yes, we are going to do it, but only after the theory classes, the MCQs will be coming up. Fine. So yes, thank you everyone. See you tomorrow sharp at 10, where we will be seeing the new topic, that is, we'll be going with fourth lecture for the topic offline and online education. Yes. Thank you very much. Have a good day ahead and see you tomorrow sharp at 10.